want to ask, because this is just hanging out there. I'm sure the audience is dying to know. Did you have naysayers? I mean, I'm just imagining here in Asia, the parents being like, how did you handle
Well, I
them?
mean, surprisingly, my parents were supportive.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, in terms of naysayers, my friends back then were like, well, "What are you doing? Like, why can't you just stick with one thing and just do it?" Some people think that I'm just mucking around, trying to waste time and burn time, and just going back to school. I get to chill for a bit more, etc. So just basically delay growing up. Like I had one friend who outright, we're not friends anymore, but I've got one friend who outright told me that like. If you really want to go to do law, you would have done it years ago, and now you're just mucking about and not doing, you know, basically just say that I'm just delayed growing up, right? So obviously didn't feel good hearing that, and
Yeah.
the way I've done it is that I know what I'm doing. Trust, believe in yourself, believe in your. Like I've done my research, right? I've done my structure. I've weighed in the risk and rewards. I decided to do that, and ultimately, career is you've got no one to blame but yourself for career, right? So for your own career, just take your career in your own hand and just go with it. If you've decided that this is your best path or the best available path for yourself, and you think it's the right decision, just go for it. That's just what I felt back then, and I still do. Like nowadays, obviously, I'm not saying that you should shut out all the criticism, but when people's criticism is already within your calculation or within your analysis, then there's very little reason for, and you've already considered all the risk and rewards from all that criticism. There's very little reason for you to care what they actually think.
Hmm.
I think it's the right course of action. Just do it. That
I
that
love
was
that you,
that was.
yeah, it's so interesting for me to hear you talk about how you factored as part of your planning the blowback from the naysayers. Like that was incorporated as part of your analysis.
I mean, ultimately, being able to stand your ground and stick with your principles. Um, it's important as a life lesson, but obviously critical as a lawyer. If you roll whenever there's a naysayer, well, I get about 15 phone calls telling me I'm wrong every day. So that's just part of the experience.
Oh wow, interesting. So that actually in fact becomes like a skill, like life skill for you in what you're doing now day to day too, like handling objections or
Yeah, of course. I
alternate
mean,
opinions.
yeah, of course. I mean, if I'm negotiating a credit agreement with a borrower council, look, they're not going to roll over. When I say, okay, the bank needs this, or like they're not going to say, okay, we'll give it to you. Like, they're not. Like they'll find a million reasons why they can't give it to you.
Yeah.
And if you lazy, then, then we get sued for negligence.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Amazing, amazing. And I mean, if you don't mind me touching a little bit on this, like the mental health aspect of it for yourself as you, okay, how did you hold on to your mental well-being?
Well, for me, I like going to the gym. So exercise, I find a very zen. So I'll just put on my earphones and work out for 45 minutes, 60 minutes, whatever. That helps. It's also great stress relief when you lift heavy stuff. I suppose the answer to your bigger question, right? Like how you manage your mental health. I mean, mental health is super important, especially nowadays. Like having gone through that kind of grueling process, I could say that, and this is anecdotal, but this is an anecdotal story, not nothing to do with my career change. But last week was genuinely one of my most stressful weeks that I've had to do in the last 10 years, including that transition, because there were trainings we had to give clients, there were drinks, there were a lot of, it's just a lot of events happening, and a whole day symposium with after drinks that we were hosting. So having done like 20 odd hours of BD just over a week, and you know that is on top of our usual day-to-day billables that we have to do. So it was incredibly stressful. But I mean, the one way to stay sane is to just find the time, however short it there is, 15 minutes, 13 minutes, whatever it is during the day. Even though I was working 16 hours a day last week, to find the time to just give yourself space to enjoy something that you truly enjoy, and to be able to say, okay, this is seriously, I need some me time. I know my bosses probably won't like hearing that, but turn off your phone, turn off your laptop, disconnect from the Wi-Fi if you have to, and just enjoy what your hobby is. Because having a hobby is super important for your mental health, and that's how I got through. Just take that time to take refuge in something that you truly enjoy. Also, always have your eye on the ball, right? Like for me, it's partnership in my firm. What I do, I always remind myself that whatever I do is conducive to that process. It's helpful. It's helping me. People are noticing. I'm improving, increasing my profile within the market. I am, getting people to know me. I am establishing a foothold in a very competitive market, and it helps me get to where I want to be in the future. Keeping an eye on the ball is just help you stay sane, right? Like you won't feel like all the effort that you're doing is for noughts, right? And ultimately remember that regardless of whether you fail or succeed at a task, at least you tried. And at the end of the day, you will regret actions not taken, but you wouldn't. But if you tried your best, you will not regret the time you spent. That's how I see it. Because even back in the day when I went back to the UK to do, to go through the grueling process of transitioning, I always tell myself that, look, this is what I've chosen. This is my goal. I want to get a training contract. That's what I'm going to focus. That's why I could spend, my whole day trying to perform, doing, academically, doing the GDO, etc. And I'll spend weekends doing dozens of application forms. Like the application forms or training contracts are long. Like they require writing essays. They require, I think, on average, you need 10 plus hours to just do one application form properly. And it's disheartening to get rejection. Like a lot of my application went nowhere. Either they just reject me or they just didn't come back to me and never came back to me. And I'm still waiting on a few firms. And whenever you get a rejection, whenever something has gone nowhere, just keep trying, because this is what you want. This is the path you've chosen. No more regrets. Just go for it. That's one of my biggest takeaways.